mothers say we love the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line them up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I am Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 180 or 281.
Yeah,
God,
don't go back in time.
Go back.
Actually, you know what? There are times I wouldn't mind
God.
going back in time right now.
Me too.
Hey, CD.
We've already gone 50 years in the past. So
Yeah.
what the fuck, dude? Yeah, welcome guys. 281 back in the virtual nerd basement.
I got a joke about that too later.
It has been a hell of a week. It has been honestly a mind-blowingly historic week. Unfortunately,
Here in the US.
Here in the US, in many ways, we're going to talk about it. We're going to get a little political this episode, guys. We're going to try not to spend the entire show up.
Oh, wow. Hey, CD, thank you. 10 months
really
now.
crazy.
Resub.
Hey, Ray. Hey, man. Thanks again. That's really great. But things that were happening in America and the government and stuff, it's just shit that we got to address. I mean, we're humans and we're concerned, and we are. I mean, how can you not?
Yeah, it's the kind of shit that'll drive you to drink.
Right. Hey. So, just kind of getting into, here comes the downer shit. Yeah, for real. How's your week, man? Let's just get into it. How's your week?
It wasn't bad. I mean, lots of work. We had our game last Friday.
Right. It was fun. I was late because I had a body paint gig.
Yep, but you were there for the last about a little under half. But
Yeah.
You made it for the last
2 hours ish. Yeah. Enough for some combat and some funsies.
But yeah, it was good. You guys are back at Castle Greyhawk now and doing your thing, looking for the staff. So next time, which will be the 8th, should be a good time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was about it. I had a headache for a bit on Saturday, so I actually called off a gaming there. One of the things I did do over the weekend though is and I'm going to talk about this later, but I got back into Magic.
Whoa. Like close-up Magic, or
Magic the Gathering.
Is Renee gonna be your assistant?
No, Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering, Paper Crack, the granddaddy of all collectible card games, ladies and gentlemen. Magic the Gathering. For those of you who spent ridiculous amounts of money on that game in the 90s, here it is again, back. The company that saved Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. So.
Yeah, they've got this. It's a new style of play called Commander, and it's kind of a cool concept. It's there's a lot of pre-built decks out there that you can buy just to get into playing it, which is what I did. And started playing. Played a few games over the weekend and had a good time. Really enjoyed it. I got a vampire deck that I really like. Yeah, Renee said, "Nerd gonna nerd." Yeah, and you saying the yeah you did. We can talk about the big ass Warhammer box that you got this weekend too. So
yeah, no judgment here, Renee. I started at
talk about nerd gonna nerd.
Jeez, yeah. What does a garbage pail kid give you in battle? Holy shit. I still have a bunch of garbage. I think I had the entire first set. Good. If it wasn't damaged, it'd be worth something.
You see Rich posted I think he just sent that to me and Pete. It was a picture of a Magic card called Split the Party, and I didn't read the actual like text on it. He said check out the flavor text, because at the bottom of the cards they have like quotes or something like that. At the bottom of this one, it just says don't.
Just don't. Whatever you do. Well, good. I'm glad you had a nice week. Anything else?
No, just lots of work. Really getting into the new job, having a good time.
Good.
There's lots to do, so it's keeping me busy.
Cool.
But I don't have to be on call, so that's a big, huge bonus.
That's nice. We got a lot working toward. Like I said, I had a body paint gig on Friday. I had a male model. I painted. Actually, I had the second one in like a month, because I did that gig at the beginning of June at in Flint. But it was funny because this guy was nude, and I think it's actually the first time I've fully painted a nude male model. I've had times where the models, no, I guess that's not entirely true. I mean, we'd have models get pretty naked at Theater Bazaar too, but or there's some of the performers, but I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't, expecting him to be naked. And there's times when I got to get like kind of get low, get down on my knees and paint like his lower legs and stuff. And I'm like, I look up and I'm like,
Just you tuck that away, please.
Right? Could you? It's that gotta be in my face like that. I mean, but yeah, that'll teach you. Did you have a sock on? No, but that's the thing. I mean, I guess I could have asked for a modesty sock, or he could have. It's fine. I mean, this dude was a professional, nude model. It's not big, and I'm a professional artist. It's not a big deal. But it is just kind of like, whoa, I didn't expect this. And then and I handled it fine. It's not a big deal. But it was still like, I get female models that are naked all the time. And, but the thing about it is you don't like, because, women's biology is different and everything's tucked up inside. It's just a little, I don't know, a little less awkward sometimes, I guess. I did not, CD, God damn it, dude.
That's what I asked him too. I said, were you like
no, you gotta stop. I'd have to be paid a lot more money for that. A lot. I've never painted a penis. So
put a little tattoo on the side of it, like
say yeah. It says, welcome to Jamaica, have a nice day. So yeah, there's that. Saturday, kind of chilled out the rest of the weekend. Like Saturday, Stella had the day off, and we kind of chilled at home. And then and Sunday she worked, and I kind of was like, you know what? I just had a full couple of weeks, and I'm gonna chill. So, and I know that there's a lot coming up. Yesterday, we had the big fireworks event on that's sponsored by the Parade Company right on Jefferson Avenue, and it was off the chain. It was insane. Sold out. Tickets were sold out. And but I had,
I find it hard to celebrate this country right now, though.
It was very difficult. I was there, and I was there because my friends, I was kind of expected to be there because of work. I also, the food was really good. It was all catered by Andiamo. So, and a lot of all my friends from work were going to be there and stuff. So it's like, even though I'm very unhappy with the state of the country right now and the things that are going on, and I'm exhausted by living in interesting times, Chris.
Yeah,
I'm exhausted by it. Even though I still went and I still enjoyed the fireworks and enjoyed the event. I'll admit right now, I did not stand for the national anthem. I did not stand for the national anthem, and most of my entire table did not. There was quite a few people that didn't. I looked around and I saw a number of people that did not stand for the national anthem. So, and I think that's appropriate. I mean, I think that's an appropriate way of kind of registering a level of disgust, discomfort, disappointment, displeasure. A lot of disses in there.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to diss the country, but anyway.
I'll diss the Supreme Court. At least 5 of the members. or 6
Yeah, no
November.
kidding. Those fucking liars. But we're going to get into that in a few minutes. Other than that, I also met with a company on Monday beforehand, before we went to the fireworks, to do some side work for. They are a production company here in Ferndale. I'm in Hazel Park. I'm 2 blocks out of Ferndale, but they've it's pretty much a startup where they're making some pretty serious props. They've got some amazing stuff going on. Apparently, they picked up the contract. The guy who pretty much bought out a lot of the old Jellystone like campgrounds, and I guess he owns a lot of KOAs, anything that has sun in the name, I guess, or something. He's trying to bring back the whole mystique, the mystique. Like there's really any mystique with hey boo boo. He's trying to bring back the whole like a joy of the Jellystone campgrounds. For those guys who may not remember the Jellystone campgrounds, they were of course Yogi Bear themed, like campgrounds you could go to. You could bring your trailer, you could hitch up your RV or whatever, and you could camp out there. And it's places, you could stop on the road when you're on road trips and stuff, and you could pitch some tents, whatever. They usually have a pool, and they'll have a putt course, and they'll have like little activities for kids and whatever. They're a little cheesy, but they're kind of fun. They're just kind of like, hey, we're out on it's good for families and stuff. And honestly, it's a good place to stop when you're in an RV. And we used to camp at one
themselves an RV.
We used to camp at one, my security team for MRF, and a lot of performers from the MRF used to camp at one near the Renaissance Festival. It was Jellystone, and then it became a KOA. And so anyway, the guy that one of their biggest clients has tasked them with making a bunch of Yogi Bear stuff, like full-size Yogi Bear statues out of fiberglass, and painting them and stuff, and putting display things, and a sign that says Yogi, welcome to Jellystone, and all these other things. So these people are looking for painters. They're looking for artists and people that can help. So I'm going to be probably pulling down some extra hours, maybe a little bit of time on the weekends, and more so work in the winter when parade is kind of on break, and I'm only there like 2 to 3 days out of the week or something like that. So
that's cool.
Yeah, we're already saying that because we're doing like 8 new floats this year, 8 or 9 new floats. We're saying next year won't be as much work. Like if we have 2 or 3 floats, that'll be it. So we may start the season a little later, or there may be breaks in the middle, for some of the artists. So we're actually looking at this potentially being a good resource for some of the other artists at the parade company to go to in the off season.
Cool.
The only fear is potentially losing them to this company, but this company is very much like, they want to be like, they want to bring in people on contracts, kind of thing, and stuff like that. So I don't think we'll lose anybody that way. But anyway, it was really cool. They met with me on yesterday, and then I got a phone call from him about an hour ago saying he wanted to check and see how much I liked it and how much I can help. And I'm like, apparently they want my help. So that's great.
Cool.
Yeah. So what are you drinking, brother?
I am drinking something I just happened to find, and it caught my eye at Total Wine. I had to think of the name of the store. I haven't been there in a while. And I saw it and went, oh, I need this just for the bottle. I am not drinking beer tonight. I am drinking bourbon.
Bourbon?
Yep.
Where's my bourbon?
This particular bourbon is Dragon's Milk Origin, small batch bourbon whiskey, 95 proof, aged for 5 years. The bottle is so fucking cool. It
Awesome.
looks like dragon scales. And you can see that I have drank quite a bit of it. It's already down to here. But I need to get some more because this is really fucking good. I don't know if I can read this. But it's got a whole little story on the back. I'll actually take a picture of it. That's what I can do. I can take a picture of it, and it's easier to read because it's small print, and I'm old. So Let's
Yes,
see.
yes,
Let's see.
sir.
What's it say here? It says, long ago, the phrase HCSVNT Draconis, I don't know how the hell you say that, um, was used to denote mysterious and uncharted territories. Oh, here there be dragons. That's what it actually means. This ominous warning kept many wary travelers at bay. To us, it became an invitation. The story of Dragon's Milk began by returning into the unknown as one of the first innovators to age beer in bourbon casks. Now we travel further, exploring the spirit that crafted a legend. In a modern world dominated by column still bourbon, we again opted for the road less traveled, distilling on a Prohibition era pot still. This traditional method allowed us to produce true small batch bourbon, always bottled at the pinnacle of flavor in batches of 100 barrels or less. The result is a whiskey that offers a rich body and complex flavor made to be savored. Every legend has its origin. This is ours. Here be dragons. That's what it is. Here be dragons. And I gotta say, this is really fucking good. I like this a lot. It is one of my current favorites, actually. I would put it right up there with Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. It is a very, very good bourbon. I've only ever had it on the rocks. I actually haven't had it neat. I should try it neat. I prefer on the rocks, but I'm not a bourbon connoisseur, so describing bourbon isn't like for me like describing beer. There is a lot. I get a lot of oak. It has a dry finish. It does have some like caramel and maybe even some toffee and a little bit of smoke in there. It's quite delightful, I think. And
Delightful.
yeah, but yeah, if you like bourbon, I would say give this one a try. It's at least here in Michigan, and I know that our sin tax is a little high, so our liquor and stuff tends to be a little bit higher than a lot of other places. But it is a Michigan product, so I don't know how far they're distributing this one particularly either. But it's like 40. It's right around $40, I think, 40, 42, somewhere in there. But I think it's worth it. It's really fucking good. Yeah, Dragon's Milk Origin, small batch.
All right, very cool.
And if nothing else, the bottle is worth it.
It was a pretty cool bottle.
And the fact that it's like smoked up here and it gets clear as it goes down.
It's one of those cool things about how, like, like the bottle is really a piece of art too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all marketing. It's all big part of the the marketing factor and whatnot. But there's so many things that they do when it comes to booze that like they do put so much work into the bottle, into the booze itself, and then they put them in these great bottles too. There's so many really great just liquor and scotch and bourbon bottles and stuff like that. It's just really cool stuff.
Yeah, my buddy Ed actually makes lights out of them. He takes like the cool bottles and he's got the equipment to actually drill a hole in the glass without breaking it, and then he puts LED lights in and runs the switch out the back. You can turn it on and off, and it's just filled with LED lights. It's not like it's anything super fancy, but it makes for a cool like bar light.
I saw a vendor at Canterbury that she takes liquor bottles and puts candles in them. She cuts off the top and smooths them out, and then puts like a scented candle in them. And quite often the scented candle smells like the booze in the that the thing that the bottle was from. And it's pretty cool.
This one smells like Fireball. Yeah, us non-alcoholics call that cinnamon.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm drinking something you gave me, and I think you reviewed it a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to give it a try. It's Blake's Hard Cider, another one of their newer ones. This is the Tropicalata, as you can plainly see. And there, it looks pretty good. Orange coconut and pineapple hard cider. I gotta say, it's a 6.9, so it's got a little hefty kind of bite to it. This is lovely. You were right. It's nice. It is a little heavy on the orange flavor, but It's got that nice little, it finishes with some coconut on the end there. And it's nice. I like it. I like it. I've never been a big pina colada guy, but it's not too much of that pina colada, it's just enough. So I'm liking it. I'll definitely get this again if I can find it. I haven't been able to find it.
I bought another 6-pack because I saw it was still at at Kroger, but they were only about 5 6s left.
We found it at Kroger. Yeah. I must have looked at Meijer and I didn't see it at Meijer when we were at Meijer. Normally we go to Kroger, but we were at Meijer and I was looking for it. So
let's see. CD has a vanilla barrel cream ale from Lexington Brewing. Really good. Okay, cool. Aged in bourbon barrels. Speaking of bourbon. Cool.
Excellent. All right. Well, okay. So I believe it was it Friday that the Supreme Court ruled?
Thursday or Friday.
So landmark decision last week. And usually when they say landmark decision, it's more of a positive thing. But a landmark decision, the Supreme Court decided to overturn.
Oh, that sounds good, CD.
Overturn Roe v. Wade, which was the federal, the federal protection, the law that federally protected women that they could get an abortion if they so needed or wanted to get one. It was they
didn't stop abortion. They just sent it back to the states to decide,
which is horseshit. It's now it should have been something that was codified. It should have been something that was because it's not just about, of course, I mean, and I'm going to mansplain a little bit, or I'm going to talk about a little bit that people talk about things that people already know, because this has been in effect for 50 years, since 1972. But it's really more about body autonomy. It's about having the power to make a decision about your own body, particularly women's bodies. Yep. And it was a huge jump forward back in the 70s when that happened, because there were just still so many laws, so many rules.
Women couldn't even get a credit card without a man's approval until 74.
Exactly. Until I was born, the year I was born, a woman could not get a credit card without her husband's or father's approval. Holy shit. That's ridiculous.
I can't believe we were that back-assward that far back, because to me, that just boggles.
Right. Pretty much the entirety of our lives, Roe v. Wade has been it's just a thing. It's part of our culture and part of who we are. I mean, you and I, particularly as we grew up, I didn't understand what Roe v. Wade was until I was a little bit older. But I do remember people talking about it, and I was just, I wonder what that is. I don't know what that is. And then when I did find out, and I was like, okay. And it was one of those things that just made sense. I'm like, why are we even debating this? Why is this even a thing? Why was that? I mean, people should be allowed to do what they want with their bodies. And of course, it became, the religions got involved, and, when does life begin? When does, when is a cluster of cells an actual human? All those debates. And it has been I think The View called it a wedge topic that both sides, the Democrat, the liberals, and the conservatives, have used it as a kind of a litmus test for political figures, for politicians, for judges. How do you feel about Roe v. Wade? It kind of shows like, okay, this is where you stand. And unfortunately, it has been used so much to that extent and in that way, that I think people just took it for granted. And now, and even back in 2009, I think it was 2008 or 2009, when Obama said, abortion rights are not a priority. And I think he said that at the time because everybody just felt it was a given that there's no way they would overturn Roe v. Wade, when they should have codified it back then. And codified means, basically putting it into the Constitution, making it a law of the land. That's not going to be the case, and that's the other thing too. The last couple judges that were brought onto the Supreme Court, when questioned in the hearings and in the like the interview process the senators are going through, and to approve them, they were both asked, one of the first things they're always asked is, how do you feel about Roe v. Wade? How are you, what is your opinion?
If it came to you, what would you do?
What would you do? And every single one of them that Trump appointed said that it is the law of the land, and that I have no objection to it. I have no problem, no plans to change it, anything like that. They fucking lied, ladies and gentlemen. They fucking lied. And
this is why they shouldn't be in for fucking life.
They should not be put in, judges should not be put in for a lifetime job. Nobody should have a lifetime job. And
we should not be stuck with these fucks for another 40 fucking years.
Right,
well, Clarence Thomas ain't gonna last that long, but
no.
Thank God, because holy shit.
That's the other thing, that Clarence Thomas has also stated that
right. I mean, he's the one, they're also not elected.
Right. That's the other thing. They're not elected. They're appointed by the president of the time. A friend of mine at work said that she said 10 years. They should have 10 years. They should have the amount of time for the full span of, two service, two
presidential services.
Right. Two full presidencies plus a half of one to kind of work on like working their way out or whatever, preparing for the next one to come along, and I think I agree. I think 10 years is good. That's a good number. As much as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, as much good as she did and as awesome as she was a very old woman when she left office or when she passed away. It should, I just don't think anybody that should, I mean, retirement age is 65 in this country, right?
Yep. Well, 67 now for 67? Like us.
Jesus. So yeah, what the fuck? Why are these 85-year-old people fucking in,
Well, in the Senate too.
Same thing. Term limits. There's no reason why these people should.
That's the problem. You get to be that old, you start losing touch with what the majority of America wants.
You lose touch with, now that doesn't mean we shouldn't take into account what the older generations need and want.
Right.
But the younger generations have new ideas, new plans. They're the future. They're the people coming up. So there
needs to be a mix.
There needs to be a mixture, right? And there's just too many people that are staying in office for too long. And they're out of touch, and they're jaded, and they're
rich fucks that don't give a shit, that have eternal health care and shit.
I'm even happy. I'm even cool with them, after 4 or 5 terms, what is it? The Senate is actually like what, 2 years?
6 years. Senate 6 years.
Senate 6 years. Okay.
And Congress is the House of Reps is 2.
Okay. The House of Reps is 2. Okay. So did you say Senate or Congress? Wait,
Senate.
Which one's the Senate is 6 years.
Yep.
Give them a maximum of 4. That's a max. That's 20. What? 6 times 4.
24 years.
It's 24 years to get in. Hopefully, make a difference. Make a change. You get in your 30s. You leave in your late 50s.
You can fucking retire too.
You can retire. You can even have a sweet ass fucking retirement package. I don't care, but you don't need to be in office anymore. Enjoy your retirement.
Yep.
Get the fuck out. Go and be a lobbyist.
Run for president if you want to.
Run for president. Sure. Run in a different, run as in a different office, kind of go run for mayor, run for,
governor,
governor, state rep, whatever you want to do, or just go off and fucking buy a fucking fishing boat and enjoy your fucking golden years, man. They should not be in there. There should not be 75, 85-year-old people in office deciding policy anymore.
In all honesty, I think Biden's too old.
I agree.
I think Trump was too old. I think Biden's too old.
I agree. And I get age comes with age comes wisdom, one hopes.
With the shit we heard today in the hearings, not so much.
Mother of God.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. So I mentioned this at our D&D game. We closed off our D&D game by saying this. To any uterus bearing humans that are watching, anyone that needs to, I don't know, possibly now in Michigan currently, it's okay to play D&D.
Yep.
But for all we know, the laws could change. I mean, the law that the trigger law that went into effect was from the 30s, and apparently Governor Whitmer has put a stay on that law. So currently, the ability to get, the ability to play Dungeons and Dragons in this state is still fine. But if somebody, needs to maybe travel out of state to go and play D&D, we here at Nerds with Alcohol, maybe we can help. Maybe we can support you in that endeavor, because we're the good guys here, and we like to play D&D, and we'll go out of state to play D&D, right, Chris?
Yeah.
No, gas is expensive.
There might be a Magic the Gathering tournament or something.
There might be a Magic the Gathering tournament, right? I mean, maybe a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Anything,
whatever you want to do,
whatever you want to do. If you want to go camping, we'll help you there too. Because fuck this shit.
Now, that said, that's not the only decision they made last week either. Only shit decision.
The same day.
The day before.
Okay. Well, there's a couple ones. The same day, they also did pass gun reform.
Oh, yeah.
So, which was...
that was the Congress that did that.
Yeah, they did pass... that was Congress. And I found that to be incredibly ironic, that the fact that that you were... that you're taking away the federal protection to be able to get an abortion, but at the same day, how about some gun reform? Now, from what I understand, it doesn't restrict...
Well, guns have more rights than women now. So.
They absolutely do. From what I understand, it doesn't restrict the sale of high-powered weapons and magazines, but it is doing some things to help with like putting guns in the wrong people's hands. And it does also put a whole bunch more money into mental health. So I guess that's great to some extent. Also,
but the day before, the Supreme Court ruled on Miranda.
Right, the Miranda rights, that cops can no longer be sued if they violate your Miranda rights.
Yep.
What the actual
police anyone who if your Miranda rights are not read to you or violated, you have no right to sue anyone.
Right.
Even if you're found not guilty.
What the fuck, man? That's the whole idea about the Miranda rights. If you're not read your Miranda rights, then they can toss the entire case out of court.
Well, they still can do that. You just can't sue the police afterwards for them doing that to you.
Yeah. And CD, you're right. It is, I mean, it's substantial million. It's like 300 million. I mean, they're putting a lot of millions in, but it's we need billions. You're right. There are billions of dollars need to be put into money, into mental health, which unfortunately, but it's still a substantial jump forward. So, I mean, it was better than nothing. I mean, and it was a bipartisan bill too. That was the other thing that was a big deal. Mm-hmm. It was a bipartisan bill. Yep. Also, besides the
pittance,
you're right. It's a drop in the bucket, but I'm trying to look at the bright side. Also in New York, they also apparently, I think they just changed some stuff about the carrying laws. So now they have said that you are, I believe, you still need a license to concealed carry. So if you are carrying a concealed weapon, you need to have a license to carry a concealed weapon. But apparently now you do not need a license at all to open carry a handgun in, I believe in the state of New York. I think that it might be, I think that also goes state to state. But so that's kind of a big deal.
It's the open carry law. Now, here's the thing. So, open carry is tricky because as soon as you enter a vehicle, it's no longer open carry. It's now concealed carry.
So, when you're in the vehicle, you have to have it in a case, correct?
Yes.
You have to have it properly stored.
Yep.
You can't just have it on
You cannot get into a vehicle. And that includes getting on a motorcycle, actually.
Yeah. Unless you have a concealed carry license.
Right.
Correct.
Otherwise, you can still be arrested, even if it's openly displayed on your body, because once you get in, it's concealed. It's considered concealed, even on a motorcycle.
Okay.
They don't distinguish between vehicles. At least here in Michigan.
Holy holy shit, man. I mean, it's just like my head was spinning. Honestly, I was a little kind of down and depressed and fucked up all weekend I think about a lot of this stuff, you know. And there's a part of me that feels like, do I have a right to be outraged particularly about our view or Roe v. Wade? Because I'm not a woman, I'm not somebody that's going to have a child or have an abortion. But some of my friends were like, no, you should still be outraged. This still affects you.
It's not abortion. If this was truly about children, then we would have fully paid medical for pregnancies,
right,
and births. We would have huge amounts of maternity leave, fully paid,
right,
for women to stay home and be with the child when it starts. We would have child care paid for.
Right. Well, it's like what Carlin used to say. Carlin used to say that conservatives, from conception to 9 months, they want to get in there. They want to know everything about it. They want to protect. But as soon as the kid's born, fuck you. You're on your fucking own.
Yep.
And I find that to be amazing. And some people are saying, and I don't disagree on this, is that the rich class, the honestly, a lot of the conservatives and the rich class they want a population jump because we're losing our working class.
We're also losing it's the white folks that aren't having babies anymore.
Right. Exactly.
And they don't want to be a minority because they know how they've treated minorities.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's fucked up. We don't have near as many people to, flip burgers and change your oil and things like that, so they're trying to, at least for the prices that will make our economy still function. There's a lot of people that are saying that this is the reason why they're doing this is so that we'll have, the next generation will have a bigger population explosion. We don't have as many people going into the military, and whatnot. And the thing about it too is, this is ultimately going to affect poor people the most, middle class and poor people the most, because some rich douchebag gets his girlfriend or mistress pregnant. He can pay for her to go out of state or into another country to get an abortion if she needs to. I guarantee that shit's going to happen.
Well, yeah, they've already said, I've seen lots of people saying, the senators who helped confirm these judges, their wives, daughters, mistresses don't have to worry about anything.
Right, exactly. It's disgusting.
They'll always have the care that they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's extremely frustrating.
What kills me is when they're not, especially when there's states that are like, nope, zero tolerance. There is no exceptions for incest, rape, anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just bullshit.
Yeah. Apparently the chief judge Supreme Court,
Roberts,
he had actually even come out and saying, I didn't intend for this to happen.
Yep.
They moved too fast, too quickly. I wanted just to make some caveats about, time when you could get an abortion. And I guess he wanted more sort of to completely ban late term abortions and stuff like that. And people are like, dude, well, you should have been more careful. I mean, what the actual fuck, and it has already started. I saw a thing on Instagram or TikTok or something about a story about a woman who, the day this happened, she went in with abdominal pain and found out that she had an ectopic pregnancy that had to be dealt with immediately or she was going to die. She was in excruciating pain for 9 hours and almost died because her doctor had to be on the phone for hours with his lawyer and the lawyer for the hospital to make sure that they weren't going to get sued or brought up on charges by performing
a medically necessary
procedure. And like I said, it ruptured. It almost killed her. And
but who the fuck cares about the mother? That's what they're saying. Yeah. And it's disgusting. I'm fed up, dude. I'm pissed. So I'm fed up.
I'm tired, like you said, Chris. I'm tired of living in interesting times.
Yep.
I got enough going on, enough things to worry about. I mean, the war is still going on
and now,
in the Ukraine, and we got this bullshit going on.
Well, and then you got fucking Clarence Thomas basically saying that they should relook at like all those other things, like the availability of contraception, gay marriage,
and gay marriage,
and there was another one too. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but all of them were. I was like, "What the fuck? No!"
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. They also talked about people have been making jokes about, okay, Clarence, okay, how about and they listed the case that basically made it legal to have it for interracial marriage to be a thing. Yeah. Because Clarence has got a white wife.
Yep. Well, and then there's also he's a not convicted, but he's known to have been a
predator of some kind. It came out during his confirmation that there were hearings because he made sexually inappropriate jokes in the office and comments and whatever, and he got called on the carpet for it. In fact, he was one of the first people to do that happened to. Right around the same time that the stuff that where Bill Clinton was being impeached.
That's true. A white wife who was conspiring. A white wife who was at the Capitol on January 6th.
Was she?
Yes. She marched. She marched on the Capitol.
Holy shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which speaking of, that's a nice
moving
segue.
On. Today they had a surprise hearings because they had stated that they were possibly, as of last week's hearings, they were possibly going to call off this week and maybe not have, and then also because they had to address some of the evidence that got released last week, and then they were also going to be off for the 4th of July break. So we were possibly not going to see them back in the hearings
until the end of July.
They had one today because holy shit, it was several White House aides. I think one in particular testified today to Donald Trump's behavior on January 6th. Do you want to take it?
I'm remembering Cassidy Hutchinson, who is she was a big Trump supporter.
Yep.
She was an aide to the, I believe, chief of staff.
Correct.
Mark Meadows. And so she was in the room when a lot of things happened on January 6th and before and things. And she came out and laid it all out. Yeah. Basically told him, I'm a Republican. I believe in what we were doing. I celebrated all those victories that we had and everything that we did. She was very much for it.
Correct.
And then she told her what she saw.
Apparently, one of the big things that she saw was the fact that Donald Trump wanted to be taken after his one of his speech at the
It was that big one outside the White House.
Yeah, he had the elliptical drive or whatever it is.
Yeah, the ellipse.
The ellipse, and he said that they put him in the car, and he thought he was being taken to the Capitol, and they're like, "No, sir, we're going back to the West Wing.
Go to the Capitol and speak."
Right, we're going to the West Wing because that's not secure. And
secure that.
He flipped out. He apparently grabbed for the steering wheel, and he was like, "I'm the fucking president. Take me to the Capitol."
Yep.
And it was like, "Sir, I can't do that." That's one of those places where the Secret Service supersedes the president's authority. Yep. Like when it comes to his safety, he doesn't get final say.
Nope.
He is the president of the United States, and his safety supersedes his desire to go and press flesh and be there to receive the adulations of his people.
and to egg his followers on.
Right. So apparently, he reached for the steering wheel. He tried to. They said, "Sir, please take your hand off the steering wheel."
His one Secret Service guy that was with him in the back.
The head of Secret Service team.
Yeah, grabbed his arm and said, "Mr. President, you need to let go of the wheel." And with his other hand, Trump lunged at him right in this area.
Yeah, grabbed for his clavicle or whatever is from what they were saying. So he attacked one of his staff members.
Yep.
that's something that somebody with Alzheimer's does. That's somebody that is losing his shit, is they attack people. They can. I know my grandfather, who is dealing with a level of senility at this point. He's not gone, but he's not there as he used to be. And he has attacked like some of the nurses and whatnot at the retirement home that he's living in. It's fucked up, man. And then also the same woman who, what was her name again? Hutchinson?
Yeah, Cassidy Hutchinson.
She also she testified that he knew that they had weaponry. He said basically said, I know they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Get rid of those mags, meaning get rid of the magnetic, right, you're right, the magnetic wands that they use to check people. He was like, he didn't care. He wanted them
because his followers wouldn't come in because they had weapons and didn't want them confiscated. So they wouldn't come in to the area where he wanted them, because he wanted that whole area full. Because that's his whole thing, is he has to have everything full and see how many people are here. And because there were empty spots, he didn't want that.
Right.
So he's like, get rid of the mags. And they're like, no,
we can't do that, sir. It's like,
well, they had people up in trees with weapons. They had one person, they played a bunch of like dispatch calls too that were coming in, and it was all the like Washington D.C. police, the Metro Police, calling in saying what they were seeing. And there was one guy who they said obviously had an AR-15 up in a tree. They're like, look for this. It's this tree by these flags. It's this, American flag face mask, wearing this.
Yeah, they've been talking about like the fact that, that people had AR-15s, they had AK-47s, there were a lot of weapons in that crowd, man. A lot of handguns, a lot of melee weapons as well. There were a lot of clubs, a lot of brass knuckles. There were knives. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some people walking around with machetes and swords. This is crazy sauce, man. I can't get over it. I'm honestly, I'm feeling anxiety. There's not a lot of things that make me go, God, I'm feeling so anxious. And this is doing it, man. This is doing it.
Well,
this is making me have heartburn and stomach aches. And I'm like,
well, then Hutchinson also talked about being in the White House later on that day and walking into the dining room and seeing the
Trump doesn't know how to drive.
It was the valet, she said, was in there cleaning up a mess, and she could see ketchup running down the wall, and asked what happened, and the guy basically said, I would avoid him. He is really ticked off, like really ticked off. He basically threw a temper tantrum and threw his food, his lunch, at the wall, breaking the plate and making a huge mess. And when
that's what children do.
Yeah, when she was asked if she had ever seen him do anything like that before, she said, she paused and she's like, yes, I have. I've seen him throw plates, whether it was just to destroy them or to make a mess or whatever. She said she even saw him once grab and flip the entire tablecloth and flip an entire table's worth of food onto the floor in a fit of rage.
He's a child.
Yes.
He's a fucking child. Yes.
He's a baby loser throw temper tantrum. That's what the CD just said. That's
Doug, Big Mac incoming. Yeah. Well, it was clear. I mean, Donald Trump did talk about how much he loved his McDonald's. So guys, we should probably move on. We're dealing with this a lot, but to close out,
it's a lot that's going on in the country,
right? To close out the shitty political stuff, guys, get out there and vote. We got to vote in the midterm elections. We got they
Roe v. Wade is now on the ballot.
Yeah.
And what we mean by that is we need Democrats or just people in general who are going to support the national right for women's bodily autonomy,
Mm-hmm.
so they can pass an actual law.
Right. Exactly.
Because this was just case law, and from what I've heard, a lot of lawyers over the years, a lot of lawyers and judges over the years have said it was bad case law to begin with.
I have heard that too. I've heard that it was one of those things that should have been rewritten a long time ago.
Yes. They just kind of let it go, and they never actually followed through with writing an actual law to protect it.
Right. So, who knows? Maybe this is one of those things that eventually it's just, hopefully it'll turn out to be a good thing.
Yeah, I agree, CD. We need to get the do nothing Democrats out of there too.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I mean, Chris and I are obviously liberal leaning, but we are a lot more moderate and than some people. I mean, we're just
there's
tired.
No such thing as a far left in this country. Our farthest left in any other country would be just left of center.
Right.
Bernie and AOC are just left of center in Europe.
Yeah.
They don't want people to die from medical expenses.
Right, exactly. We are the kind of people that, I mean, we're reasonable. Like I said, a friend of mine, my friend Linda made a TikTok earlier today where she was lip syncing something that Biden was saying. And it was something about how his leg hair and when he was in the pool and all these other things when he was a kid. And it was just sounded like complete fucking nonsense. And this was something Biden was saying like in an interview or something. And I'm like, can we maybe not have complete idiots in politics? Can we have just a couple? We don't on both sides. We could just use some people that are not idiots. I mean, apparently Sarah Huckabee today, did you hear what she said today?
I saw what she said the other day.
Yeah, or what it was the other day. It might have been the other day. We want children to be as safe as they are in the
womb as they are in schools.
In the classroom.
Yeah.
And people were like, did she just fucking say that? I mean,
you can't make no
fucking idea. She's a fucking moron. And I mean, who says something like that? It's a couple of weeks after we had some of the greatest mass shootout tragedy in decades, in years at the very least. Like, what the fuck? That girl. I mean, and that was her during her campaign because she's trying to run for one of the state governing bodies.
You see the Republican nutbag that's running for Secretary of State here in Michigan?
No, who is he?
She is a conspiracy theorist nutbag who thinks that premarital sex and men and women living together outside of marriage leads to pedophilia.
Oh yeah, I remember somebody saying. Somebody told me about that. Yeah, I don't know.
Watch last week's John Oliver. He's got the quotes and actually plays them. Her actual quotes.
I've been meaning to watch
not the one from Sunday, but the one from last week.
I've been meaning to watch his show more regularly anyway.
But that's one of the biggest problems right now is that, and that's why we have to vote in this election, is because a lot of Secretary of States are up for grabs, and there are a lot that are running just so that they can be in a position of power to overturn an election.
Right.
That doesn't go their way.
Right. So Thor comes out next week.
Yes, and I can't fucking wait because that'll be a breath of fresh fucking air.
Yeah, I've actually got I got a couple of tickets through work, so I'm going to see it on Wednesday night, which is kind of cool. We get to see it up.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go see it with you on Thursday too, because you have a hard time not spoiling. I can see sitting next to you going, ooh, what's this?
I have a problem, Chris. I get excited. Thor is coming out next week. We're really excited. The initial reviews are really great. Just from the trailers. I mean, quite often people are like, they just put the best shit in all the trailers. Yes, they do. But the trailers really. I was gonna make a joke about bringing duct tape, but I knew somebody would do it. Thanks, CD. But anyway. The initial reviews are they're saying it's gonna just knock everything out of the water. Like they're saying it's probably one of the best Marvel movies ever made, and I think it's gonna be really great. pretty much right on the tail of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which I did enjoy a great deal, but Doctor Strange definitely was a little bit darker, a little bit harsher.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be, even with a villain like Gore the God Hunter, or God Butcher, Gore the God Butcher, which is a pretty intense villain. I think we are overall going to see. Yeah, I think we are going to see some pretty good times. I think this movie is going to be unbelievably good, and I'm just super looking forward to it. Also, Feige has been and Hemsworth have both been saying he's not leaving anytime soon. Like Hemsworth is probably going to play Thor for a while longer yet. I mean, the guy does have a very eternal look. And I think he can continue playing Thor. I don't know if we're going to see Thor in further, we may not see more Thor movies. I mean, this will be the fourth one, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Hemsworth return as Thor in like another Avengers movie or a further,
or even just like a cameo, because they have to go to Asgard or something.
Yeah, like he's going to show up and it's going to be, or he's going to show up in a Guardians of the Galaxy film. Well, actually, they said this is the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Did I tell you? There's one of the guys that works at this company that I kind of toured on yesterday, just got done working on Guardians 3.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he was a prop guy, because a lot of the guys that created this company worked in the movie industry. Mm-hmm. And the couple of guys that did. And they've been pulling, the one dude worked on Batman versus Superman. He worked on Oz the Great and Terrible. Any of the big movies that have been filmed in the Detroit area or in Michigan in the last 10 years, this guy pretty much worked on. So Transformers and all these other ones in the last 10, 20 years. And, but yeah, they grabbed it. Basically, this guy is, he worked on several Marvel movies. Like he was talking about how many shields they had to make for Captain America. Like how many. There were so many different shields for different shots and different things. So I was like, oh, it's like, what are you doing to me here? So yeah. Thor opening next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, right after the 4th. Go and see it, check it out, tell us what you think. We do have a pretty good sized break. We don't have another Marvel movie for quite a while, I think. Pretty sure.
I think it's October or November.
Yeah, I think it's November. What is it? Do you know what it is? I can't remember. Is it Black Panther 2 or Wakanda Forever?
Maybe.
Because I know we have She-Hulk. Right, we have She-Hulk on television.
Coming up. New movies, Marvel. I Am Groot, She-Hulk. July 8th. I Am Groot shorts comes out on August 10th. She-Hulk Attorney at Law is August 17th. Untitled Halloween Special is on Disney Plus in 2022. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is November 11th. That's the next movie.
So we have Black Panther, and then Marvel's done for the year pretty much.
Yeah, and then Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania is February of next year.
Correct. So
and then Guardians 3 in May. Mm-hmm. The Marvels in July. Secret Invasion date to be determined. Live action Spider-Man sequels, Blade, Deadpool 3, yeah. So they don't have dates for anything beyond the Marvels.
Got some things coming down the pipe. I also did hear, apparently Sam Raimi did confirm that John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic was stunt casting. So we're not
because everyone said that's who they wanted as
so it isn't a confirmed for sure thing that he's going to do it. I mean, I think he would be great if he did. I think he'd be perfect, and I think he did a great job. The little bit of Reed Richards we saw in Multiverse of Madness, but apparently that's not something set in stone.
Yeah.
So.
Sticking with MCU stuff though and news, we got a little bit of an announcement today about Armor Wars. The Don Cheadle led show that will be coming to Disney Plus.
I'm looking forward to it. I like Don Cheadle as Rhodey. I like him. I think he's great.
But I guess that's going to start filming this fall.
Very cool. Very cool.
So we should have
they also did announce that they have one of the next shows that they're going to be working on is a Wonder Man show.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't hear that one?
No, I did not hear that one.
Yeah, it's still in the very early planning stages, but bringing Wonder Man to the MCU through through Disney Plus.
Cool. Are they still talking to Nathan Fillion about that?
See, that's the thing. And in some of the like in posters and in like things that are seen in the background, Nathan Fillion was supposed to be Simon Williams, who is Wonder Man. I think
he would have been a great Wonder Man, but by the time they get around to filming it, I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, he's a little long in the tooth now for that character, but I think it would be really
still love him.
Cool.
Love him everything he's in. But,
for sure.
Which I actually still haven't seen Slither.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, I've heard that's just fun to watch. But anyway, yeah. So, do you know the premise behind Armor Wars?
Well, in the original comic, Armor Wars was basically Tony Stark found out that somebody had stolen his technology and sold it in parts and pieces to basically a circuitry design and things like that. Not things like
it's basically what happens when the Iron Man tech falls into the wrong hands.
So Iron Man, Tony Stark goes out and starts like investigating any superhero or villain that wears a suit of armor, that wears like technology kinds of, as power is derived from technology, and he hunts them down, and he either asks you, let me see your armor, I want to see if my technology's in it, and if they say no, he
whoops their ass.
Like, he wrecks their shit. And this was at the time. This was at the time he was wearing the Silver Centurion armor. So it was the first time that he was wearing armor that wasn't red and gold. It was red and silver. In the late 80s, early 90s was that armor. It was really cool. And then
I always liked that armor.
It was also at a point where it was right around when Steve Rogers had stopped being Captain America and taken on the costume that he called the Captain, which later became U.S. Agent's first costume. So he was wearing the black, red, and white outfit that was really fucking cool. So I mean, it was an interesting and dark time in Marvel Comics at the time. So that's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that maybe Rhodey is going to
that's what it's supposed to be. That's why I was asking, because I figured you did, but I figured not everyone did. So, but yeah, that's what it is supposed to follow that line. It's just that Rhodey's going to be the one that goes out and.
Right, and I think it's great. I think that looks a lot of fun. Looks like a lot of fun. We're really cool.
Now, before we get into talking about episodes of shows, because we're already over an hour, one of the things I wanted to talk about real quick is Stranger Things, which I know you haven't watched season 4 yet.
Not yet.
I finished season 4, the first part of it, part 1. Okay. Part 2 comes out Friday.
I'm loving that it's already coming out. That's great. They didn't wait long.
No. And I have a feeling that they just needed to do some final tweaks or something, because I don't understand the reason for waiting like 3 weeks or a month between when they release part 1 and part 2. But episode 7, which is the last one in part 1, is an hour and 40 minutes long. All the other episodes are like an hour. Jesus. Actually, every one of these is a little over an hour. They're like an hour and 4, hour and 5. But so the episodes are a little bit longer than the previous seasons. And then this last one's an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm like, holy fuck. It's like a little mini movie. So
that's not a mini movie, man. That's a movie.
Yeah. It's 100 minutes.
It has to be set to be considered a full-length feature film. It has to be at least 75 minutes long.
Yeah.
That consists a full-length feature.
Yeah. And this is 100 minutes. So this one, it is a little movie. It is a movie. It was good. And it sets up the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to it. From what I heard today, there was something about the producers of season 3, the writer producers, all the people are defending their decision to make the last episode of the season over 2 hours long.
Holy shit. Of Stranger
Things.
Wow. Over 2 hours long.
Yeah, over 2 hours.
Wow, that's what I said. Over 2 hours. That's something, man. That's really something else. Good. You know what? I mean, they're saying they're done after this season.
Except that IMDb still has a 5 in there. They're usually pretty good about knowing when there's going to be another season.
Well, maybe they've made it maybe they've changed their mind. I don't know. I still have to watch season 3. It's moving up my list. I'm definitely moving it up. I did.
Season 3 was fun. Season 4 is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I did also just started the other day. I was like, I was working around the house and doing stuff. So I was kind of sedentary, and I was like, I got to do this, and fuck it, I'll put on Umbrella Academy. And I put on watched the first 2 episodes of the current season of Umbrella Academy. And I got to tell you, it's pretty good so far.
That's what I've heard. I have not started watching it yet. I have heard that if you have a trans person in your life, watch the second episode of Umbrella Academy to understand how to handle.
Yes.
How to approach them, how to be with them, because I guess the brothers and sisters just do a amazing job of.
Yeah, it's basically just, okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what you want. Okay, great. That's what we'll do. And Vanya pretty much decides to be Victor. And I thought we were going to see some sort of like warp in reality or something, and they were going to go because the first episode, Elliot is still with long hair and still being Vanya. And then in the second episode, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but the second episode, she becomes he and says to his brothers, this is it. And they're like, all right. And I'm like, it was really cool. They didn't make a huge deal out of it.
And that's what you should do. It's just full acceptance. Just, okay.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that I also heard that Elliot Page did say that he would continue playing a female character. He was not about that. He never asked them to change the character.
Yeah. But could you imagine the shitty fallout that they would get if they didn't? I think it depends. The production.
If he came out and said, I never wanted them to change the character.
If he did that, fine. But I still say that they'd probably gotta give the company, the production company shit.
But yeah, I guess it was though the writers that went, no. We're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was cool to them too.
Yeah, I'm sure the writer of the original comic book, Gabriel Way, would have been like, yeah, fucking hey, do it. That's fine. So bravo on that. I gotta say that the dance number in the first episode is absolutely fantastic. Again, not a secret. They've been showing that. That's been been seeing a lot of that online lately. TikToks and stuff of it.
Gerard Way.
Sure. Yeah. Gerard Way. Thank you. But yeah, it's a great. I like I said, I watched the first 2 episodes. Pretty fucking fantastic so far. Ms. Marvel.
Yes, let's talk Ms. Marvel. Speaking of dance scenes.
Yeah, no shit.
Because now this show, I am enjoying this show so much more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, me too. I knew it was going to be cool. But to see it at this level, to see how cool it is at this level, they're really building. They're building history here. They're building a really great story about this kid and about her family. And
I love seeing like the behind the scenes cultural stuff for Pakistani Americans.
At first, when I watched the wedding, there was a part of me that was like, are they kind of, is it a little much? Is it too much now? I looked at Stella, I go, do you think they're maybe pushing it a little too much now? Are you? And she goes, no, I don't think so. I go, no, I think you're right. I think I'm enjoying it a great deal. I don't think it's too pushy. And I think this is something we all need.
It's part of the culture.
We as white America.
Provided, as long as that is true to what their culture actually is.
Which it is.
I am not part of that culture, but I enjoy seeing it. I thought that was absolutely fucking amazing.
Absolutely. Seeing the Muslim wedding, seeing the reception
I think that was
afterwards.
Specifically a Pakistani wedding because of the dancing and stuff like that.
Well, it's a Pakistani Muslim wedding,
right?
So, and which I'm sure a Muslim wedding and from Iraq or Iran or whatever is going to be different, But yeah, it was and I was just loving like the interactions with the uncles and the aunties or the Illuminati. Man, that was some funny shit. Or the really cultural things, because in all honesty, how often do we see a show that centers around that particular cultural phenomenon, cultural group. I mean, we've got shows about Black people and Hispanic people, and of course shit tons of shows about different kinds of white people all over the place. But I don't think I've ever seen a show that really centered that showed off Pakistani culture in this fashion, and they're tying it in with a superhero story, a coming of age superhero story that is really fantastic. They've even brought in, because they didn't want to use the same origin resources of the comic book where she's an Inhuman, they made her, if you saw the second episode, they made her basically a descendant of a group of jinn, of fucking genies that were trapped, that were
actually from another dimension, and
from the newer dimension, and they were exiled to our dimension, and they're trying to get home. And now I'm wondering why they were exiled, but from some of their reaction in the third episode, I'd say it's pretty evidentiary.
Yeah.
And I liked how they had some powers. They had, they were able to pull out weapons from wherever, and they were extra strong and extra powerful. You could tell that was cool. I really thought it was cool. I also liked how they pulled in a little more obscure Marvel lore, because she had said that they call us many different things. The one woman that she met, they call us different things. They call us the jinn. They call this. They call us the clandestine, and they call us the jinn. And there's a Alan Davis, the writer and artist Alan Davis, who drew Excalibur and Captain Britain. He was one of the guys that created Captain Britain. He created the miniseries Clandestine, which was about a family that were all descended from a man who had met a genie, fell in love with this genie, and then the genie basically made him immortal and invulnerable and immortal. And so the clandestine, his name was something Destine. The clandestine were a bunch of superhumans that had gotten that basically inherited their powers from mystical genetic origins, and they all had superpowers within this family and their adventures. And it's a really cool miniseries. It was like 12 issues, and the characters have cropped up here and there, but it was just like, wow, I haven't seen these characters, any reference to the clandestine, in a long time, and I thought that was really fucking badass. So that is your superhero nerd-gasm. But yeah, Kamala Khan and the whole cast is really great. Her parents are great. Her brother is great. Her best friends, Bruno and the one girl, I can't remember her name right now.
The one that's on the council now.
The one that's on the council now, yeah. And I loved how she was obviously maybe from kind of a well-off family, and decided they were probably a Muslim family, but they weren't devout. But she decided to become more devout.
Well, I think she's from a mixed family.
Yes, yeah, she is, obviously, because she had talked about, they look at her and she goes, sometimes they think she's too Muslim for one part of her family and not enough for the other, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And then she talks about the hijab.
Yeah, the hijab.
She talks about that was her choice to put that on. And
that's what I mean. Yeah, like her parents, she doesn't know if they were truly approve, and the difficulties with that. And I just thought it was really great, just seeing that struggle. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So badass, guys.
But overall, I'm really enjoying the show. It's fun. It's cute. It has heart.
Yep. We got 3 more episodes of this show.
At her brother and sister-in-law now, at their shower, when she gets her gift, she gets that gift, and she goes outside. That package shows up, and she goes outside.
Yeah.
And she's sitting outside, and the leader of the mosque comes out. I'm not sure what they're called. But
there's a religious leader.
Yeah, the religious leader comes out, and he's talking with her, and she asks him some questions and stuff. Asking about basically that new hero that's showing up, and how can she help convince people that she's good. And his response, I thought, was fantastic.
Really was.
Good is not something you are. It's something you do.
Correct.
I'm like, that's fucking fantastic.
I love that quote. I was like, that is really great, because a lot of people, you know, they're like, people are generally good. No, not really. People are generally selfish, but you have to be, being good is something you have to.
It's something you
aspire
do. It's
to.
not something
It is
you
not,
are.
right. Exactly. And
You
I
do
consider
good.
myself
You
a
are
good
not.
person.
You are. I am not good, but I might do good.
I think I am good. I think I am good, but it is something you have to work at. You have to be, you know, not everybody is just born good, you know. I mean, we are naturally kind of selfish. So, but I did feel that was a great quote.
It's right up there
really
with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely. And what was the line from WandaVision? Grief is, god damn it, was really good.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember it now. Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, guys, if you can remember that great quote that the Vision made, it was about grief. God damn it.
Here it is. WandaVision quote grief. What is grief if not love persevering?
Persevering, right. Oh, Maron, so good. What is grief if not love persevering? That is a fantastic, that's a tattoo. You know, I mean, that's like, fuck, dude. That's really good. So moving on, real quick, I took a little break from Lego Star Wars the other day, because it's a game I can pick up and set down, you know.
You pick it up, you put it down.
I pick things up, I put them down. I started the Guardians of the Galaxy video game that came out last year, that won shit tons of awards.
I heard great things about. Yeah,
it is so much fucking fun, Chris. This is not a game you're going to spend like weeks and weeks playing. I played it. I started playing it like Thursday. I played a lot. I played a lot on Friday in the evening. No, I didn't. Friday I was gaming and stuff. I played a little on Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday I pretty much just a lot. I played a lot on Saturday and Sunday. It's so hard to put down. It's so good. The story is great. The acting is really fun. The visuals are great. You can find a lot of costumes. You can find a lot of different outfits. You can make them look like they do in the movie. It features you play Peter Quill, the Star-Lord, and then you've got your four buddies. You've got Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Drax, kind of walking along with you and fighting with you, and you can kind of direct them to do certain special abilities and powers and shit. But you got to use their different abilities to get through certain puzzles and stuff like that. There's a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of references to the Marvel Universe. It's much more. It's not the movie. It's not based on the Guardians of the Galaxy movie characters. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy comic characters with a little bit of flavor from the movie. And it is super cool. The Nova Corps is in there a lot. The Universal Church of Truth. They reference a lot of different shit in the Marvel comics. It's really cool. Highly recommend it. Pick it up for your PS5, man. It's very fun.
And I might eventually.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm still on Horizon Forbidden West. That game just keeps getting fucking better and better as I go along.
You know, that's why I didn't start that, because I was like, I know I can get through this Guardians of the Galaxy game fairly quickly, because I knew it wasn't a game I'm going to play for 2 months. It's a game you play for, you know, it's fun, but it's like a week-long game.
Dude,
so
6 hours just disappear when you're playing Forbidden West. It is fucking amazing. And
I played Zero Dawn, man. I know, man.
This picks up right where Zero Dawn left off and just runs with it and takes the story to a whole nother fucking level. And it is so good. I'm 53% of the way through the game now, I think. Renee's like 77%.
Very cool, very cool.
So I plan on playing some this weekend, hopefully, with the long weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Renee has to work because, you know, her job is 24 is a 7 by 365. So
Strange New Worlds.
Yes. One other thing real quick while we're still on video games. I saw a thing saying that we've passed a corner, and that the Xbox Series X is now readily available throughout the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Cool. The
PlayStation 5 still isn't, but the Xbox X is.
PlayStation 5. Well, you know what? I bet if the Xbox is at that point, I wouldn't be surprised if the PlayStation would be right behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they have to keep running neck and neck. And from what I understand, the PlayStation 5 still was outselling the Xbox.
Yep.
But I mean, that's going to change if it's much more available. So yeah. I hear it's a cool system. And honestly, if I can't get my Bethesda games, if I can only get it on that. No, I mean, I'll be buying my next couple of Bethesda games, obviously on my computer, because I'm not planning on changing up game systems.
I have both systems. Well, I had both systems, but part of that was a buddy of mine was getting rid of his Xbox, and I'm like, he's like, you want it? I'll give it to you. Because he's like $100 and you get like the Game Pass and all that. So I'm like, okay, sure. And I've played it a bit. It was mostly to play with them, my buddies from curling, because they all play Xbox.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, Strange New Worlds. We've talked about Strange New Worlds being probably some of the best Star Trek we've seen in a long time.
I think I'm caught up.
You said, well, the most recent episode was the fairy tale episode.
So we are caught up. The Kingdom of Elysium or whatever.
Yes, that was such a great episode.
That really was. That episode was a blast.
Yeah, in the episode they go into a nebula. They're trapped in a nebula, and some sort of cosmic being basically transforms the entire crew and the ship into a setting that is pretty much taking out of the book that the doctor is reading to his daughter.
I want to hear how much fun they had filming that episode, because
oh my god,
Pike alone, Anson Mount's character in that was just so funny.
You could tell he was having a blast.
Oh yeah,
because he wasn't the hero of the story at the time.
He was a cowardly dandy.
Yeah, and personally, I loved how this episode was able to give some of the other actors a little bit more room to shine. I love that Uhura was basically the evil queen from the neighboring kingdom.
Yep.
You saw Spock was the rival wizard. Hemmer was hilarious because he was one of the only aliens or only crew members that didn't.
Him and the doctor were the only ones that
weren't affected. And he was great for the magic of science.
I actually really like Hammer because he's such a curmudgeon.
He is. Hammer he's this grumpy old man, but he's really probably not an old man. But he's a genius. He's kind of like, he's a bit of a curmudgeon. But you can tell there's almost like a little bit of humor in like he's like, if you can impress him, he's like, okay, very well done. You know, I mean, I like Hammer a lot. I think he's fucking cool. And I've always felt that the Andorians needed more time on Star Trek. I always wanted to see an Andorian on the bridge or an Andorian, and like Shran, who was on Enterprise, was easily one of my favorite reoccurring characters on a Star Trek show. He was great.
Yeah, I never saw that. I never watched Enterprise. I didn't watch Enterprise that long.
Enterprise was Shran was the Andorian like general and warrior that was recurring on Enterprise, and he was so much fun. He was awesome, and on Enterprise was the show that introduced the subspecies of Andorian that Hemmer belongs to.
Yeah,
because he's not a normal Andorian. He's like a subspecies from the Arctic area. They're all blind and they're white instead of blue, and I love it, and I love the fact that they have a blind actor playing him.
Oh, is he actually blind?
He's legally blind. I think he can see a little bit, but he is legally blind, and I thought that was really cool.
Back to the show though, I love a lot of the way that a lot of the characters came in. Like Nurse Chapel was the witch woman, the medicine woman.
Yeah, she was great. She was so good.
La'an as the as the princess.
That so many of my friends were like, that dress deserves an episode all by itself.
Oh yeah. I'm like, she looks good in a corset, and Renee's like, yeah, she can't jump.
She looked amazing. Yeah, she can't jump in that. No, she looked incredible, and it was such a divergence from her character. From her, really was,
and with the dog and everything like that.
Oh yeah, Noonien saying, it was so sweet, and I was wondering how they were going to resolve this issue with the doctor's daughter. I mean, having her basically trapped in, stored in the pattern.
Yeah, they can't do that forever.
Get sicker and sicker, right? Because there was danger of like if they lost power and whatever. So the fact that, and Stella had a tough time because she was like, he's just gonna give up his daughter to this alien force, and he's like, and I'm like, listen, this guy is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like,
well, and here's the other thing.
The crew is in danger. His daughter is in danger. His daughter is cured, but she's not. If they leave, she's gonna die.
And it was her choice,
right? He gave her the choice, or she, it was her choice. And
she basically said, I want to go.
I thought it was, I felt it was a little bit too quick, that she came right back.
Me too.
And she's like, oh no, it's been years for me, even if it's just been a few minutes for you. And I would have liked to have seen her in a later episode. Like maybe she came back the next season or a later episode. Yeah. Dad, I'm back, and here I brought you all this shit from the Delta Quadrant or whatever. I was like, but still, it was a little too quick to resolve his pain and stuff. But at the same time, I think it would have been tough for that actor to be carrying around that weight all the time. That he didn't know how his daughter was faring out in this nebula with these people or with this other being. So at least resolving that was, I think that was cool.
Honestly, I think she was an unnecessary addition to the show because that story arc was too quick.
Yeah. The whole thing was to humanize the doctor a little further, give him another arc. But I don't think it was really necessary. We didn't have to have.
That's the thing. I don't think it was necessary. I think it was, and I think that's why we got this episode, which, while fun, seemed like it was a little forced and a little quick, because they're like, well, we don't know what the fuck to do with this now, so fuck it, we'll just write her out.
I see your point, and I can't disagree. I think they were probably like, man, maybe we should wrap this up a little earlier than they intended. It's either that or they're going to drag this out for a long time where he's haunted by it and he's searching really hard, trying to find, the cure for his daughter. And you got this, this poor little girl that's in the fucking pattern buffer 90% of the time.
And they already threw somebody at it. So they introduce her that she has this. And then like the next episode, he's like, they find a race that can cure her, but they're like, no, we don't share our technology. Sorry, see ya. Yeah. And then we get this one. So it's like, I don't understand the reasoning for having her in there for just that short a time.
All right, I see your point.
I thought it was a little ridiculous.
Okay. I'm still loving the show.
The only flaw I've seen in this show, it's still it's still up there as probably the top Star Trek show that I've seen.
I'll tell you, man, I'm loving Ortega more and more all the time. Watching her kick ass as a fencing and sword fighting and shit. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, and then fun. Her and Una.
Yeah. Like, you two shouldn't be a couple. You shouldn't be involved. And he's like, look, no, we're involved. We're very involved. Like, really. And it's funny too, because like Ortega's actually pretty short. And Rebecca Romaine is 6 feet tall. She's a tall woman. And so the two of them standing next to each other, I mean, she's like a full head taller than Ortega. It was pretty funny. I really just, I'm having a lot of fun with Ortega. I think she's going to be one of those characters that's a little bit of a comic relief, but not a goon. She's going to be one of those like kind of smirky characters on Star Trek that's always like, quick with a quip and quick with like.
Yeah, so Ortega is 5'3".
Okay, yeah, she's pretty fucking short. So, but I think she's going to be one of those characters that, like I said, it's just kind of like a funny character that's always got some kind of
and
smart
Rebecca
ass
remains
remark.
5'11". So
okay, so yeah, it's a 6-inch height difference.
Yep.
Or wait, no,
8 inch.
and 11, 8-inch height difference. It's a lot. And and I think they just looked even shorter, or she looked even shorter. Like maybe Remain was wearing some heels or something. I don't know. But I loved the costuming. The costuming was great, you know, and it's just so much fun. The whole thing was fucking a blast. And I'm loving what they're doing. I think we're halfway through. So that was episode 6. We got like 4 more to go.
Yeah.
And because it's only a 10 episode season, I hope next season we see more. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So we're at an hour and a half.
Right.
We need to talk about Obi-Wan.
We do need to talk about Obi-Wan. I also want to, real quick, before we get into Obi-Wan, Stella and I watched the first episode of a new reality show on Netflix. It's called Snowflake Mountain, I think it is, where they take like a dozen zillennial snowflakes that are all like 19 to 25, and they're all like spoiled rotten, like people that are trying to be influencers and whatever else. Their families have tricked them into telling them that they're going to a resort where they're going to be pampered, and they're going to be on a reality show where they get to go to this resort, similar to Too Hot to Handle, where they did the same thing for a bunch of people that are basically just a bunch of beautiful, horny people. These people were a bunch of just pieces of shit. They're lazy. They're just soaking up. They're just mooching off of their parents all the time. I mean, they're all probably come from money, so it's not like mom and dad are struggling because of it. But the first step, and they put them. They're taken to a survival camp, and they're being taught how to live off the land. And the first episode was goddamn hilarious. Like seeing these people suffer is you know, chef's kiss kind of
that's
thing.
Not my kind of show though.
I know. And it's not like they're like slogging. I mean, they probably will slog through mud at some point, but the idea is that they're going to learn, that they're going to grow and learn as people, and hopefully that's what we'll see. There is a cash prize at the end if whoever can get through it the best and make it through, they get $50,000. But the kick is if anybody leaves, they'll knock $5,000 off of that thing. So the idea is to keep for everybody to stay there, for whoever wins,
work together and
work together and learn and just grow as people. So I'm hoping that that's what happens, and that we can see these people actually kind of grow into better people. But we'll see. It is reality programming. I don't watch a whole lot of reality programming, but some of the shit that Netflix has been putting out has been some funny shit. So
just wanted to touch on that. Watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Just started watching it?
Yeah, because I started watching it before when it was actually on TV, and I didn't like it. And you've been talking about it, so I'm like, you know what? I'll give it another shot, and I'll see. Yeah. I'm only like 4 episodes in, and we'll see.
Oh yeah, how are you feeling so far?
I don't like Sandberg. So
okay,
that's part of it. Is that I'm not a fan of his. I love Andre Braugher.
Honestly, Sandberg's not my favorite part of the show. My favorite parts of the show are actually Braugher, Terry, and
and I love Terry too,
and Rosa.
Yeah.
So dig it. I think you just got to give it time. The show grows. So yeah, we should end the show on Obi-Wan. You know what? You're the Star Wars expert of the two of us. Take it away, Christopher.
Holy fuck.
Right?
Overall, I thought that the episode was okay. I didn't think it was fantastic.
First, wait, we got to start, because I texted him after I watched it. I texted him. I think it just went, dude! And you're like, I haven't watched it yet. Don't say anything. Fuck. And then I think I just went, dude. Yeah. So anyway,
second season Letterkenny. That's where it starts picking up some in the second season. Third season is really where I think where it hits its stride and really takes off.
First season of Letterkenny is funny, but the second season is where it really starts to go.
Yeah.
You really are like, oh, okay. No, I get it. So
but anyway,
but
overall I thought the series as a whole was good, but it wasn't great. It wasn't like the greatest thing I've seen. It was very entertaining. It was good. I liked the story. But this last episode, I will say, has what is probably the greatest fight scene I've seen in a show. Maybe even
absolutely.
in a movie.
I think it was the best. I think it's the best Jedi fight we've ever seen. Now, John feels that the Duel of the Fates in Phantom Menace is the best one. Between the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan,
that's right up there. But this one is
right up there. This one, holy shit, dude, is amazing.
And now here's the thing. So again, I'm gonna say Obi-Wan channels the dark side in this.
Yeah, you were saying that when we were chatting about it.
It's because he uses his attachments to give him strength, and that's something from the dark side.
I think that's how he dug himself out of the fucking pit that Vader put him
and then he uses that for the entire rest of the fight with Vader.
Okay, but he wasn't raging, and I think that's the thing that I was thinking when you were like, you can't tell me he wasn't
when he lifts all those rocks.
Yeah, I think he was emotional, but I think he was. Yeah, but I think he was sad. He was more sad than anything else, because even at the end, when he fucked up Vader's helmet and you could hear, and he fucked up the breathing apparatus, you could hear.
Oh yeah, to see him smash that, and all of a sudden the breathing changed. I thought that was really good.
You hear the voice changings too, and I was like,
well, the voice didn't change until after he broke the helmet.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
And that going back and forth, I thought was really cool between Hayden Christensen's voice and James Earl Jones. I thought that was actually a cool effect.
It really was. And I think, that's what gave him pause. And he's like, oh, Anakin, and he was like, he felt so bad about it, and I think that almost broke him out of it. That broke him out of it. Because he just, I think
that's where he really felt bad.
Yeah. I think he started to he was really feeling for his friend. He's like,
now,
because this is also the episode where we're watching the flashback too, where I believe it was this episode, wasn't it? Where we're seeing them fence back when they were still, episode. Was the previous episode? Yeah. Okay. But that was still fresh in his mind, I got to say, Hayden Christensen was never my favorite part of these movies, of the prequels. I thought he wasn't the best actor. I think he's probably grown as an actor since then.
I think so. He did a much better job in the little bit that I saw him do here.
Exactly. He did a much better job doing it this now, the way he was doing it now.
And I'll say this. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought. Sorry.
I think he just so much better, so much more refined as an actor. And honestly, it looked great too. He still has that look, that he still looks like himself. You could tell he's aged. And it was like John and I were both like, I'm glad they didn't do a whole lot to like make him look like a kid again. They just kind of put him in. They maybe did a little bit with makeup and stuff, but they didn't like do the whole like computer de-aging thing with him,
Well, so I do have a lot of issues with this episode as well, but the fight scene is definitely not one of them. That fight scene, and I want to keep going on about this because it was so good.
I think my favorite part was just Obi-Wan like this. And it's just all the rocks just raise up.
Well, so here's one of the things.
Vader.
If you look in almost every fight that Vader has, he's never the first one to draw his weapon.
Okay.
Obi-Wan draws it first here. Luke draws it first against him in the on Bespin.
Yeah.
Luke draws his weapon first on the Death Star. Vader doesn't draw first. The one I don't know is Obi-Wan and him. I don't know. I think he actually lights his first when it's him and Obi-Wan.
Okay.
But I have to go back and watch that. I haven't watched that one in a while. But yeah, that's one of the things I noticed. I'm like, and I watched it again even, and I'm like, does Ben draw first? Yes, he does. and he does that whole, over the head thing with the saber. I'm like, that's just a dumb move with a light sword. But the fight itself, the other thing I think that this was such a good fight was that it wasn't just sabers. They were using the Force to shove each other around and pull things down, and I mean that, and Vader even uses it to open up the ground and basically create a giant sinkhole that swallows Obi-Wan. And then I expected them to make some crack about having the high ground.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad they didn't, because that would have been cheesy. But then he just starts raining rocks down on Obi-Wan.
Right.
And I'm like, he's not dead. You can sense him. And he just goes to walk away.
Exactly.
And then the other thing, at the end of the fight, where I thought it was a little cheesy the way that they broke his helmet open. It was a little too perfect, but the effect I thought was fantastic. The look, when the camera angle and everything like that, where you see the burned face of Anakin and then the face of Vader on the other side, the helmet of Vader, I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and it was chilling.
Yeah.
To see that. Especially with him saying basically, you didn't kill Anakin, I did.
See, that was amazing. That line right there. He was basically trying, he was absolving his friend. He's like, this wasn't your fault, man. I did this, I was like, all right, wow.
Well,
okay.
And the other problem I had was when he leaves him there and says goodbye, Darth. Well, he wouldn't have called him Darth, because Darth was a title.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a title, but yeah.
But anyway, the other thing is I'm like, you know how much death you could have saved by finishing him off right there, you dumb fuck?
Right. Well, come on, Chris. We all know that. You got the opportunity to kill Hitler. If you don't take that opportunity, the blood of every person Hitler killed is on your hands. But we know the way the story ends, right? We know that the story goes on from there. So they couldn't.
But that's
just
the thing.
Walk up to him and
I have no problems with Vader escaping or something like that. But for Obi-Wan to just walk the fuck away,
all right,
when he was going to destroy him. I mean, yes, okay, he feels bad. Boo-hoo. You're a fucking Jedi. No emotions, no attachments.
Right.
Finish him off. You know what he will do to the galaxy and what he's already done.
Sure. I mean, it's been 10 years. He's made a mess of things.
Yeah. So
just seeing him walk down that street in that village, man, and just fucking taking people out was enough.
So outside of that, we've got the whole story with Reva and finding the thing. Now, finding the little message thing, which, again, dumbass. Ben is a dumbass. You don't just give that to the guy. You break that fucking shit up. You put your lightsaber through that motherfucker.
Right.
You don't leave that around. Second, she finds it. It's a broken message. All it says is, does he know, if he's found out about the children, I'm going to Tatooine. Okay, so there's children and it's Tatooine. That's all Organa says. Well, Lars needs help. So she gets Lars, Tatooine, children. And she goes hunting to kill some kid.
Yeah. On
the premise of what? Doesn't know why Vader would want this kid.
Well, I don't think she was thinking completely clearly. I mean, she was obviously, this is a traumatized person who was betrayed by somebody she trusted as a child, and then later again set up and betrayed as an adult. I mean, they just used her. They used her for 10 years. So I think I don't think she was thinking clearly, man, at all.
So here's the other issue I have is we start off with we got Vader chasing Ben on that ship, and yet Reva is already on Tatooine. It hasn't even been hours at this point.
Okay,
so
well,
they
jumped around time a lot.
What's that?
They jumped around. I think it's unclear exactly the time differential.
It's the way they were showing it, which made it look like it was all in that same time frame. Unless they pulled some fucking Witcher bullshit with jumping around in time. The way they were showing it, they kept cutting between Vader chasing the ship and her on Tatooine. And so here's my thinking. So she's on that planet where the rebels were. Well, they were rebels. Left to die. She's injured. Vader just leaves her there to die. They all leave. First of all, they're not going to leave the ship for her. They're going to take that fucker back. That's money. The Grand Inquisitor is going to take that ship, and he's going to jump in it and fly it back to the Star Destroyer.
Right.
So she has no ship.
Well, this chick's got a lot of resources, man. I mean,
dude, she's on a backwoods fucking planet.
And
the one rebel ship got destroyed. The other one escaped. There weren't any others around that you could see in that hangar, unless they got another secret hangar somewhere where she found a ship in like 10 minutes.
And she's a scary force-wielding, lightsaber wielding fucking
But there's
person,
no one
dude.
else on this fucking planet.
It's in the script, brother. I don't know.
That's where I had a problem. All of a sudden, It's like she fucking force teleported to Tatooine.
Okay.
Even going through hyperspace takes hours.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that if anything, they fell down to the job there with like expressing that, like how she got out and stuff like that.
The Star Wars apologist can't explain.
Okay, I can't. I mean, I didn't write it, so they probably, they're not perfect, so they're gonna.
Yeah, she's also stabbed.
What?
She's also stabbed in the gut.
Let's do that too. I would have liked to have seen her like at least go through some kind of first aid, something, have she gone to the doctor. Otherwise she's just using the force to hold herself together.
So she gets to Tatooine, she tracks down Lars, and I did like the whole, Beru being a badass.
Yeah.
Like, I knew this day was gonna come, and she's pulling out fucking hidden guns and shit.
Yeah.
But then they fight, and then Luke winds up escaping out into the desert, and she chases him down. And then, so Luke escapes out through the roof. She runs back out through the house, and as she comes out, she took the time to put her fucking hood back up in the middle of the night for some reason.
Yeah. Which
I didn't understand. I'm like, why is her hood back up? Who's she hiding from out there? There's nobody around.
Dramatic effect, man. No, seriously, I mean, the director did that for dramatic effect. You got to accept that there's some stuff that they're going to do because it just plain looks cool. And I know that doesn't, it kind of makes it for like weak storytelling occasionally, but it's still Star Wars, man. They're going to do shit that's just like, hey, you know what? Put her hood up. She's going to be walking along. They want you to put her hood up so that Beru and Ben and Lars are not sure what's going on,
Well, but then she comes back. She actually changes her mind because she flashes back to, she realizes that by killing Luke, she would be just as bad as Anakin and
Vader and everybody.
And
I'm glad that they didn't kill her. Honestly,
I am, and I would have rather she died, because now there's somebody else out there that fucking knows about Luke's existence.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loose end.
It is a loose end, but maybe it's somebody else
who supposedly, I guess, knows that he's fucking Vader's kid too, from a broken up fucking message.
She didn't know that. She just knew that he was important, that the kid was important. I don't know if they ever said that, exactly who Luke was. So she just knew that this kid was important to him, just like Leia was important for some reason, enough to draw Kenobi out of hiding. So
well, but they only did that because they knew, and that one actually sort of made sense in that they kidnapped Leia thinking that Bail would contact Kenobi because of their relationship during the Clone Wars. That one's more believable than going to some backwoods fucking planet that she would have no idea about to find some,
but that's
some
the thing.
moisture farmer's kid.
Bail Organa said, the kid. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a reasonable assumption. It's like these kids are important for some reason. I'm going to go get them. I mean, she wasn't thinking completely clearly. She was stabbed through. She was betrayed by everybody that she knew. She was obsessed with revenge, and it consumed her. I can buy that.
Revenge does wonders to keep one alive.
That's true. Yep. I mean, she was basically holding herself together with the Force through sheer revenge and stuff. So through anger and whatever.
Now
that's
the
kind of
other
where
thing I will say, I've kind of come around on the whole New Hope thing. In that I can kind of see that Leia maybe did know. I can understand now the whole maybe she did know Ben, and it was because of they actually cleared it up. They did a decent job at the end with him basically talking to her and saying, we got to keep this a secret. It's dangerous for anyone to know.
Right.
And then and I can see that them explaining it that way, as I don't think it was ever meant that way that she knew Ben or anything like that, because I don't think she was supposed to in the movie. But I can see where you can draw those lines after the fact with her Ben Kenobi.
Yeah. And about how she approached it more diplomatically as opposed to being, hey buddy, I could use some help.
Well, and at the beginning she actually calls him Ben Kenobi at the beginning. She says Obi-Wan.
No, she says Obi-Wan at the beginning.
General Kenobi, and she calls him General Kenobi, blah, blah, blah. You served my father in the Clone Wars. And then at the end, she says, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
So I think overall it was a great show. I think I loved, I'm going to chip in here. I'm going to jump in here on a couple of things that I really loved. I mean, besides the fight, I do feel like it probably would have been stronger or would have been a little more believable if somehow Vader had separated himself to the point where maybe Obi-Wan couldn't get to him and finish him off. It would have made a little more sense as opposed to him just going, goodbye, Darth, and walking away, and calling him Darth. You're right. It is a title, but it'd be the same thing as saying, goodbye, Knight. Or goodbye,
he would have called
father.
If anything, it would have made more sense for him to call him Vader at that point because he was no longer acknowledging him as Anakin. Right. He was Vader.
I gotta say, when Obi-Wan shows up, when he shows up to see Leia again, that was really sweet. But I also thought that it was great when he showed up. He was riding his Eopie and goes to the farm, and then Lars is like, do you want to meet him?
I didn't even talk about the end of the show.
Yeah, he goes over and he's carrying that model, that toy that Luke had in New Hope. I thought that was a great touch. And of course we get the line. We get the line that everybody's been waiting for. And the fact that Ewan McGregor did such a great job approximating Sir Alec Guinness with hello there. And I'm just like, it was great. It was really great. You hear it in the Lego video game a lot too. It's kind of funny. Hello there. I thought that was really, really cool. That was a good touch. And then last but surely not least, we got a cameo that I did not think we were going to get.
I heard that a beloved character was coming back, and I had a feeling that was going to be it.
Yeah, the fact that Qui-Gon showed up, that Liam Neeson showed up, we got put the suit up, put the costume on, put the wig back on to be the Qui-Gon Force Ghost. I was like, it choked me up a little bit. I was like, oh man, that's fucking good, because I do know that the Phantom Menace was hard on Liam Neeson. He left movie making for a while because of his experience making the Phantom Menace. And
really, because I figured that's when he's just started doing Taken movies, and he's done like 18 of them since then. So.
He hasn't done that many, but he has done.
Oh, you're right. And he's done 5 Taken movies and 13 other movies that are just fucking like Taken.
Pretty much simpler to Taken, right?
I'm a truck driver with a certain set of skills.
Shut up, man. When you play Qui-Gon in Lego Star Wars, doing the latest one, he will say things like, "I've got a certain set of skills," you know, and you're just like, what the fuck? But yeah, Liam Neeson took a long break after
how many daughters does he have?
You took my daughter again? That sounds more like
you're doing more of a Connery.
But Sean, honestly, like Liam Neeson, as he sounds now, and Sean Connery, they had kind of a similar kind of thing, because they're, you know, he's Liam Neeson's Irish and Connery's Scottish, and I mean, of course, we both know the accent is very different, but there are some similarities in tone and.
Oh, Renee said he took a break after his wife died.
That too, yeah. It was a couple of things. It was his wife died in a terrible accident, and a terrible skiing accident, and then but after Phantom Menace, he took a long break, and like I said, it was one of those things. He was very frustrated by the God. He's 6'3.5". I just pulled him up so that I could kind of look at the dates on this. Let's see, 91 to Schindler's List in 93, Rob Roy in 95, Les Miserables, the non-musical version, Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace in 99. He did The Haunting also in 99. Let's see, Gunshy. Well, maybe he didn't take too long of a break, because he's got some things. It looks like he probably did a few things that were, maybe it was he just filmed a lot less and was doing a lot more stage work. I think that might have been it.
I don't know, dude. I'm looking at, he's got like, 4 things in 2004, 1 in 2003, 2 in 2004, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in 2005.
Yeah. So it looks like maybe he's slowed down a little bit after 99, did some theater. Yeah, because if you've only got
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things in 2010.
Right. Well, like I said, it's in 2000 he had something called Gunshy, and then he did 1 episode of Touched by an Angel, an uncredited thing in Touched by an Angel in 2000. Then nothing in 2001. So it took like a good 2-3 years before he kind of came back. In 2002 he did K-19, The Widowmaker. And
Liberty
started coming
Kids,
back
Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York in 2002. So he didn't take a long break, but he took like maybe a good 2 years before he started coming back to doing a lot of stuff. And that's the other thing too. If Phantom Menace came out in 99, I mean, The Haunting, that came out in 99 as well. I mean, he probably made that at least a year to 2 years before he made Phantom Menace. You know, that's, you got to remember, movies are made about 2 years before they premiere.
Yeah.
A year to 2 years. It's a little bit sooner now because the process is different. But back then, I mean, it was like you'd make a movie and it was at least 18 months before it came out. The principal photography would be done, and then they'd have to do all the sci-fi stuff. It depended on the movie, but anyway, that's what I always heard. I heard that he had he was really frustrated because of all the green screen work.
Yeah, actually, Phantom Menace was filmed in 97, so it was filmed 2 years before.
Okay.
It was.
Right.
So even that one was 2 years before.
Right. So he filmed that in 97, and then he did a few other things, and then it wasn't until 2002 that he really started going back to working more heavily. So he did. He took a bit of a break. He didn't not.
Yeah, and his wife died in 2009.
Okay, yeah. So he must have taken another break again after that.
Except I'm looking at that, and it's like it's like things picked up after that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, 2011 he only had 2 things come out, so that was probably around 2009 when he filmed those.
Yeah. So, But he is a very prolific actor. He's done a lot of shit. So, anyways, Tales of the Jedi. I didn't expect to see him back in this because, like I said, I had always heard that he had. I remember the story about hearing about how his hair and makeup person, he didn't like the wig. He didn't like the wig and that he had to wear. And his hair person was saying, Liam, they could put, with all the special effects they're going to do, they could put this wig on a chimpanzee and make it look like you and nobody would know the difference. And he was like,
yep.
All right. You know,
I remember him in Krull.
Like that. Oh man, yeah, that was one of his earliest, if not his first.
I have not seen Excalibur in so long. Oh, he was.
Oh Gawain. Yeah, he's Gawain. He's Gawain in Excalibur. Yeah, in '81.
Yeah,
and Krull.
Also in Excalibur is Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah, he
plays. And also in Krull is Hagrid.
Robbie Coltrane's in Krull.
Yep. He's one of the bandits. He's another one of the bandits.
Shit. Yeah, I guess you're right. I loved Krull.
I did too.
Such a ridiculous, like cheesy '80s movie.
Yep.
But it really had some great stuff in it. You know, great actors and shit. I mean, Lisette Anthony. Yeah, Robbie Coltrane. You're right. Yep. I mean, there's some Freddie Jones. Fucking just great guys.
But we should wrap things up. We're over 2 hours.
We're getting there. Yeah, guys, get out there and vote. The midterm elections in November are very important, going to be extremely important. They're always important. But this year, they're even more important. If Roe v. Wade is going to be on the federal ballot, if that's going to be something we're going to vote on to be incorporated into the Constitution, that's immense. I don't think, have we voted? Has there been an amendment? Have we voted on an amendment or anything? I can't think of it. So
no, I don't think so.
If it's going to be codified, I mean, or if we're going to be voting on that, that's going to be a big fucking deal. So get out there.
The last amendment was the 27th amendment. It was in 1992.
Okay. What was that amendment?
27th amendment was accepted as a validly ratified constitutional amendment on May 20th, 1992, and no court should ever second guess that decision. What the hell was it? It's horrible. This is how bad the education system is that, and how much I didn't pay attention to it in my early adulthood.
We don't know what that.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. 27th Amendment. Congressional compensation.
Okay.
No law varying the compensation for services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened.
Well, either way, guys, we need to get out there.
I think that was when they voted their own salaries that their salaries couldn't be cut or something like that.
Aha.
It was originally proposed September 25th, 1789. And ratified May 7th, 1992.
Wow. Holy shit. All right. Well, guys, really get out there and vote. Get out there, pay attention. We're living in the darkest timeline here, man. I don't know. One of the guys at work we were talking was, when did we fall into the worst timeline? And one of my friends was like, it was when they turned on the super collider at CERN. And then that's when everything went to shit. And we got to pay attention, guys. We got to do something. This is getting it's just getting worse and worse. So, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Tell all your friends about us, guys. You can find us at all the places you can find quality podcasting, dudes. This is 281. We're coming up on 300 episodes real soon. We've been at this a long time, and just thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And thanks for telling us about it. We'd really like to get all of our people up, get our followers up to 100, maybe by the end of the year. That'd be really great. let us know. Chime in on the Facebook page. Let us know like what you want us to talk about, what you want to hear us, how you want the show to go. We're always open to suggestions too. And we'd like to hear what you think about the things we're talking about shows and movies and the stuff that's in the government too. We try to keep it light here on Nerds with Alcohol, but every once in a while we got to keep it serious. So, and that's what's happening tonight, at least at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. So just so you know, I'm looking at this, and there have been 2 in my lifetime, 1 in yours. And mine was the 26th Amendment in 1971 that prohibits the denial of the right of U.S. citizens 18 years of age or older to vote on a court account of age. So it basically set the voting age. The 27th, what that actually did was it delays laws affecting congressional salary from taking effect until after the next election of representatives. So they can vote a salary increase, but it doesn't take effect until after the next election cycle.
I see. Okay.
And that one is the longest between proposed and completed, because it was proposed as part of the Bill of Rights.
Oh, wow. Okay.
September 25th, 1789, it was completed, ratified on May 5th, 1992, for a total of 202 years and 223 days from the time it was proposed till the time it was ratified.
That's crazy sauce.
The longest before that was like 3 years and 3 years and 343 days.
All right. Well, I got to get going. It's getting late, and I know you got to get going too. Once again, find us on all the places you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we're here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We have our Tower Nights show every other Friday, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. We'll be playing some D&D, so be sure to tune in here at 7:30 on that Friday. On the opposite Mondays, we have our Tavern Talk game, or Tavern Talk show, where we talk D&D, and specifically some of the shit that happens on our game.
Which we will not be having that next Monday, though, because that's 4th of July.
It's 4th of July, so we
will be skipping that one. So we will be dark on Monday, but Russ and I will be back here next Tuesday. So
that's right.
On the 5th. So, remember, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We're on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We're on Twitter, @Drinking Nerds, Instagram, Drinking Nerds. You know where we are on Twitch because you're here watching us. But that's Drinking Nerds as well. And YouTube Drinking Nerds too. So
that's right.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna about do it.
That should do it.
Thanks a lot to everyone who came out. Thanks again, CD, for the 10-month sub. That's fucking awesome.
That's fucking fantastic. Thank you very much.
Really, really, really appreciate you. And all the chat that you do.
That's right. We love that you take the time, man.
Yep. So yeah, I think on that note. Until next time.
Slancha.
Not great glasses for it tonight. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.